let's just get started and talk about really why we're here, kind of who we are and what I'm talking about. I've been setting up a lot of scheduled appointments with people to talk about some of the different things that we do in Arizona, and I'm getting different questions. And so I wanted to really create a video that kind of explained all of that, right? Tell you why we're doing what we're doing, how you can get involved, what the process is, and everything else engaged in that. So that's what this webinar is going to be all about, all right? This is going to be all about the Gentry system, what we're doing, the turnkey system, how we're doing flips, how we're doing holds, how we're finding them, and all of, thank you very much, Red Link, and all of that stuff in between. So first of all, if you guys are tuning in, you should know that we are the Gentry Group. We're also called Buy Low Arizona. We are the #1 purchaser at the auction in Arizona, all right? Some of the things we've done, over 11,000 deals. That's pretty significant. Over 600 doors we have under property management right now. Over $1.7 billion that we have purchased at the auction doors, right? Over $2.8 billion that we've sold, and we've generated over $250 million in profit. Now, my name is Pete Asmus, peteASMUS. And what I want you to do while we're doing this, so that I don't go into this whole backstory of telling you who I am and all of that, I want you to just Google my name. Just Google me, find out everything you need to. Google my name with mugshot, Google my name with fraud, Google my name with scam, Google my name with all of those things, and you'll see when it comes back clear, Spencer, Jacob, all of us, I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna introduce you to the three amigos here. But when I do, definitely do your research, check us out, because that's gonna help you feel more comfortable. I tell everybody when I talk to them, look, I know that when I talk to you, I can get you to check out our webinar. Once you see the webinar, my goal is for you to come and we have a workshop, all right? And the reason that the goal is for the workshop is because once you come to the workshop and you meet us face to face, it's a lot easier to invest with us. I don't expect anybody after a 45-minute webinar to sit there and go, hey, you know what? Here's $100,000. Great, invest it the way you want. I understand that more needs to be done. So when we're talking about that today, don't think of that as, oh, here's the upsell or here's this. There is no upsell. This is a process of how I understand to work with investors. And so I'm just sharing with you what we're going to be talking about tonight. I'm trying to be completely upfront, completely transparent, so that nothing shocks you, nothing comes out from sideways or from left field and hit you over the head. I want you to be prepared for all of the things we're going to talk about. This webinar, though, is mainly going to be focused on how we do what we do and how investors can engage with us, all right? First of all, I own the second and the fourth largest LinkedIn real estate group on LinkedIn. We have over 250,000 investors. I'm sure a lot of you guys are part of those groups, which is kind of how you found what we're doing. The other thing I want to do is I want to connect you with us because I want you to understand that we're real people and that this is just what we do, right? Everybody is attainable. Everybody is reachable. Everybody, the people that we put on these high pedestals, they're just people too. And so I want you guys to understand how to engage with us and how to really get the most out of all this. Now, with that being said, I want you to understand I've been on the phone for probably 6 hours today already. So I need to get a little bit of water there. 6 hours already talking to investors. And the reason I really want to do this webinar is because I understand the importance of it. Every time I talk to the investors, I have the same questions. They go over the same things. Well, how does it work? What are you doing? How am I safe, right? How am I protected? Why are you letting us in? If you have $5 to $8 million, why are you allowing us to get involved in this? And that's real simple. Last month, let's go to March. March, we purchased 72 homes for $9.5 million, all right? Last month, that we just ended, we purchased 67 homes for $8.45 million. Now, if I told you we have between $5 and $8 million, right? And I say, okay, well, there's our 8. Let's say it's 8. That means in March, we would have been gone. We would have been done. Right now, all we'd be doing is rehabbing. Our goal is to do more real estate. Our goal is to do more deals. So yeah, we want to leverage as much as possible. We don't have unlimited funds. It's not like we have $10 billion sitting in the bank. That's not how it works with us. We are the #1 purchaser at auction. We do buy more than anybody else. We have systems that nobody can touch. And that's what we're going to talk about today. That's what I'm going to show you today. We're going to go over all of those types of things, how we buy properties and those type. Anyways, so let's get started. First up is Jacob Ash. He's one of our partners. Jacob, if you're listening to the audio of this, and I told you to Google us, right? Jacob is Jacob, Ash, ASH. So you can Google him. Our next guy is Spencer Caldwell. That's SpencerCaldwell. And then finally, Pete Asmus, PeteASMUS. And again, I'm just telling you all of these because all of you guys listening to the audio, I want you to Google us. I want you to understand who we are. I understand that the more connected you are, the more you realize that, man, we're just like everybody else, the easier it's going to be to start to do business with us, which at the end of the day is what we're looking for. We're looking to do more real estate, and we want to do that with investors. We want to make money with our investors, not off of them. That's why everything we do is all focused on how do we buy more real estate? How do we leverage better? How do we create more opportunities? I've been doing this for 10 years now, right? One of the biggest challenges that I've seen over and over again is not even necessarily always the knowledge. It's not necessarily where the deals. People are generally afraid to get started. They're afraid they're going to make a mistake. They're afraid they're going to take a wrong turn. They're afraid they're going to get taken advantage of. They're afraid somebody's going to do something to harm them. And so what I wanted to do is create almost like a fail-safe, right? What could we do that would create a platform that other investors could leverage off of? Creating a real win-win situation, because that's what it's really all about. And I know a lot of people say that, right? And this is what gets me excited. A lot of people say, I want to create a win-win situation. Well, I'm going to tell you, I haven't always succeeded. I don't know why you can hear me breathing. I haven't always succeeded. I haven't always hit it out of the park. I've failed. My daughter has alopecia that you can see. She's bald. We just went to an event last weekend where, I was there for 3 days with a bunch of alopecians, and it was insane. It was so fun. But not a few years ago, probably 8, 9, 10 years ago, my son got cancer, and that kind of rocked my whole world. When that happened, it really shifted the way that I looked at everything. I didn't want to be working for anybody anymore. The most important thing to me at that point was family. I wanted to have my family around me. I wanted them to constantly be around me so that I could engage with them. I could help them. I could take them to the next level. I didn't want to be in the same situation. So when you ask me, well, why do you care? Why do you want to help? It's because I've been through all of the challenges. I've had all of the mistakes. I've had so many things go wrong that I get it. I get how hard this industry can be for an investor, period. I don't care if you know what you're doing or you don't know what you're doing. This industry takes no prisoners. So when I looked at what could we do to really give like an amazing product, what could we do that could really help people? I didn't want to create an education company that basically just educated, that just went out there and go, this is how you do it and this is how you do it. I wanted to create solutions. I wanted to create real opportunities, real ways to create or to do real estate, right? Real paths to the goal. And so that's kind of what this whole system has been, right? A lot of times people compare where they are to where other people are. What I want to do, and this is kind of funny because it says comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 15. Or stop comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 15. The reason is because a lot of times those people, they've just written more. They've done more work. You could do that same thing. What we're giving you is the opportunity to leverage, to basically jump ahead to where we are, right? We're in chapter 15. If that's where you want to be, you don't have to write all of those chapters to get to that experience level. You can easily tap into what we're doing, all right? Now, what are we doing? Why is that important? Well, obviously, we already know why that's important, right? What we want to do, though, is we want to establish as far as goals. In fact, I'm skipping this. You guys can check this out later. If you want to listen to last week's, I went over it. To me, this is not what today is all about. How do we do what we're doing? So I'm going to get through some of this. So there's a few different ways that we actually I don't know what is going on with this thing. It's so weird. There's a few different ways that we are doing things. One of the things that we're doing is with bandit signs. So we're basically creating, we're finding properties that we're looking for through using bandit signs. We use yellow letters, probate, short sales. There's also wholesalers that we buy from. But the number one way that we purchase properties is at the auction. That's the number one way we found to get the best deals, All right. So when you're looking at how do we buy properties, 95% of the properties that we acquire on a monthly basis are done through the auctions. That doesn't mean that we don't get them through bandit signs. It doesn't mean that we don't get them through yellow letters or probate or short sales or wholesalers. We do. But when you look at the fact that we're buying, I don't know, 70, homes, 70 to 100 homes a month, right? When you compare that to, well, how many of those are actually other things besides the auction? It's not many of them. Most of what we do is from the auction, and we do it better than anybody else. And so that's why we've kind of stuck in that niche. It's our number one way to do it, right? So I'm going to get right through. Here we go. So part of our system is the fix and flip. We focus on doing, it's three flips averaging $15,000 a year, all right? If I go to an example that was last week, there was a person who basically put up $66,000, and the return on that for them specifically would have been $12,000. We ended up wholesaling it, but that's what it would have been. So talking a little bit about, now your next question is, well, what does that really mean? What are your systems? So let me explain how we focus on building a client's financial purpose, right? As I've been in real estate and I've been working for different people like Armando and Flipping Boston and the different Robert Allen, right? All of them focus on really creating a cash flow. For them, cash flow is huge, and it is huge. The problem is if I spend my $200,000 right now on two properties and I get $1,200 a month, between both of them, right? $600 a piece. $1,200 doesn't change my life. It doesn't make my life different in any way, right? So then my thing was, how do we create a real solution for people? How do we make it so that at the end of the year, not only do they have more money than they started, but they also have cash flow? And that's where we go into the F3 system that I basically am creating. And it's where we flip 3 properties in a year. And what that would do, as we click through this, what that would do is 3 flips is going to average about $15,000 a flip. If we average $15,000 per flip, we're going to end up with $45,000 at the end of the year. What we do then is take the $45,000 and $30,000 of it we can put down and get financing for through like First Key. And First Key does investor loans, 30% down, ARV, right? So as long as it's worth $100,000, we can buy it, fix it up and everything else. You just have to put down 30%. They cover the rest and they'll do it on a 30-year note at like 6.5%. So our goal is basically to flip 3 properties, $15,000 a hit. At the end of the year, you've got 45. We take 30 of that. We buy a cash flow property. And now what that does is that ends up putting, let's say, $300 a month in your pocket, right? So we take the $300 a month and you've now got $15,000 more than when you started. And to me, that's really where the goal comes, right? Our focus is having more money than when you started the year, more cash in the bank, and cash flow. Everybody wants cash flow. Cash flow is how we retire. But if you don't have cash right now, it doesn't really matter. You're not going to get to that second step. So I wanted to create a solution that literally solved both steps at once. Look, this is a way for us to make money right now and have more money and build that cash stipend, because the more money we have, the more deals we can do, right? And I mean, that's really where it starts going, because in year 2, now instead of us doing 1 property every quarter, it might be 2 properties every quarter, or it may be 1 property the first quarter, but now in the second quarter, we've generated enough that you can actually do 2 properties at once, and then it starts to kick. Does that make sense? And as you make more, you make more. It's like a snowball effect. It's absolutely insane. But you have to get started in the process. You have to get engaged in it, right? The hard part for getting engaged in it is, look, if we had $35,000 coming in monthly through passive income, great, I could do anything. But we never start out like that. So how do we really start off and get to challenge ourselves to grow? And that's what I wanted to create. That's the solution that I truly wanted to make for everybody. It was, how do we do that over and over and over again? Well, 80% of what we do in Phoenix is flips. So it's easy for us to do the flip aspect. The other thing is we've bought over 700 properties for a company called Strongbrook, who buys or who only buys cash flow properties. So we've supplied cash flow properties to REITs, for lack of a better term, right? To giant clubs that are buying like seriously 5, 10, 15 a month of cash flow properties. And then we put together our own property management, right? And once we did the property management, that's when it was like, okay, well, we can see the benefit in here. How do we grow the property management? If we're going to have it, let's really accentuate it. And so our goal is getting to 5,000 doors in 3 years. And the way I want to do that isn't by buying apartment complexes and things like that. I want to do it through this system. I want to do it through helping you, because I know how challenging it can be. We don't have to be greedy. Look, if anything, if life has taught me anything, right? And that's why I was sharing with you that my son had cancer, my daughter has alopecia. I want you to understand the challenges that I've been through, so you know why I have a big heart. You know why I care about helping you. It isn't that I just have a big heart because I was born with it, because I wasn't born with it. And if everything had gone right for me my entire life, I'd be a total jerk and we wouldn't be on this phone conversation. I mean, it just is what it is. I'm just being honest. Again, I told you this conversation is going to be transparent. The one thing I want to do is underpromise and overdeliver. All right? So I'm going to tell you everything that's going on, because that's the only way I know to really grow. It's the only way I know for you to start feeling safe, is that if I'm letting you in on everything that we're talking about, right? So our goal is to grow to 5,000 doors. I want to do that with you. I want to do that utilizing your help and really benefiting you in the same time, right? Because we can both grow together. And that's what this is all about. How do we grow together? How do we create amazing solutions together? And that's what I did. All right. Now, cash flow, those are awesome. You got appreciation. One of the things in our cash flow areas is we focus on the best school districts, right? We focus on A neighborhoods. And that's significant because you're not talking about an A neighborhood or a C neighborhood in the Midwest where you're going to have trash to your, they're going to just torch your place. And you're like thinking, oh, I'm making 12%, but you're really not. You're not, because every time they move out, you've got to do a full-blown rehab. Every time they move out, it takes you 3 months to rent it because you've got a neighbor that's MFing the whole entire process, right? And making it more difficult for you to do what you've got to do. We didn't want that. We wanted to be in great neighborhoods where if people didn't want to be there, it's okay. We'd have no problem filling it up. Now, here's the other part that's really cool about this cash flow program that we're doing. So at the end of the year, we get you a cash flow property, right? A rental property. And now what we're going to do with the rental is we're going to put that person in there, and typically they're not going to have good credit, right? That's kind of be where you're at. I mean, obviously not a 400, but they're not going to be in the buying situation. So we're going to put them on a program to fix their credit. So within 2 years, they can either buy your rental from you, and then we go get you another rental, or they go, no, I don't want to live here. I want to live there. And we utilize your funds to buy a property, convert it, and sell it to them. So basically, again, you don't lose control of your tenant. I want to protect you. Look, I understand. If I help you and I achieve that goal over and over and over again, there's nothing that everybody won't do to help me achieve mine. My goal is just to inspire the world. My goal is to get my message out there. But I realize that I can't change your life if I don't change it financially. I just can't. And I hate saying that word. I know that's a negative word, but it's impossible, because the reality is, if you don't think it's possible, if you're not engaged, if you don't care, nothing's going to change. So it's got to be about how do we make people financially fit as well? How do we really help them get to that next level? And so that's what this whole thing has all been about. How to really change the way we do things and get the most out of it, right? Because if we keep doing what we're doing, we're going to keep getting those same results. All right. So our F3 system, I explained that a little bit. Fourth property is a buy and hold, 100K all in, investors lending with 30% or 30 down at 6.7. So this is kind of what we just talked about, right? And then at the end of the year, you have 15K more than you started, and a rental property bringing you in $300 to $500. All right. Now, we have success stories after success stories. I'll read you a few of them at the end. But again, I'm treating this as if we're talking on the phone to you, or if I'm talking on the phone to you, and all the questions that I get asked. I think this is what helps you guys get to that next level. So David, you said you can't hear anything. I don't know if you still can't hear anything, but anyways, so John, you're asking how much does it cost to get involved? The properties that we buy typically are in the sweet spot is between 150 and 250,000. So you're looking at anywhere from 50 to 70,000. 50,000 is really, really low to get in. It's a difficult price point to jump into as well. If you jump up to 70, at least if you're in 70,000 range, then you're talking about 150 or about a $200,000 property. You're right in the middle of the sweet spot. And now you're looking at, anywhere from $12 to $15,000 type of return on that kind of property. Here's some parts that make it very cool about what we do. The fact that we buy at the auction, right, means that we shave 30 days off of our rehab. Because unlike conventional, where you would buy a property and you've got 30 days or whatever to close on the property, we literally have the keys to the door within 24 hours, all right? So within 24 hours, we're basically starting in on the rehab and we're going to town. Rehabs are anywhere from 3 to 4 weeks. Once that happens, when we list our properties, usually we have an accepted offer within about 6 days. It can go as long as 2 weeks. Here's the other cool part. Whether you believe me or not, it doesn't really matter because we have all of the proof over and over and over again. We've done 11,000 deals. So all I'm telling you is the facts from the previous deals that we've done. I hope that makes sense to you, Terry, and that didn't sound like I was blah, blah, blah. All right, so 5 short weeks, that was it. Here are the counties that we work in: Maricopa, Pinal County, and Pima County, all right? These are primarily where we focus. The reason that that's really important is because unlike California, where you have a ton, if you go from Ventura County to San Diego County, you have a few counties in between, maybe 4, 5 if you consider San Bernardino, right? LA County, you've got Orange County, so maybe 5. The amount of homes that covers is ridiculous, and nobody could ever be an expert at all of those areas. So what we do is, when you talk about Arizona though, even though we buy in the entire state, 90%, 95% of what we buy comes out of these 3 counties. And we know these counties like the back of our hand, right? When you're talking about Maricopa and Pinal County, those things are all dialed in. We've recently taken on Tucson because we're seeing a lot more opportunity in that region. All right. So why Phoenix? Well, it's 24-hour pay in full is a lot of areas. In Phoenix, it's only $10,000 due when you get an accepted offer. That's significant because we do lending, right? So if you had to pay 100% right at the auction door, how are you going to get any kind of loan on that? It's impossible. You don't even know what the price of the property is yet, right? So you have to come with a cashier's check in California. So when you make that offer, boom, you hand them the cashier's check, done deal. There are states, though, that are different. For instance, in Arizona, you only have to pay $10,000 at the time of the auction when it's accepted, or the time of the offer is accepted. Then you have 24 hours in order to pay the balance in full. Now, what makes us unique, and I don't know anybody else that does this, is we actually do hard money lending on these properties. So we do 80%, we will finance 80% within 24 hours. The reason that we would do that is A, if I go back, we know these better than anybody. B, we're the #1 buyer at auction. So we understand what it's going to take, what we need to, and where we need to be at, right? And then the other reason is because we have the ability to take advantage of it right now. We can literally ship out the 80% or deploy the 80% to that investment. And now we care just as much as you do about making the investment go well, right? We want our money back just like you want your money back. Again, like I said in the beginning, this is about leverage. It's about how can we do more real estate? How can we buy more real estate and get farther along, right? That is literally what the focus of what we do is. We really only focus on cosmetic fixes, taking things from like a C level to an A level. We don't do huge, giant, reconditionings, things like that. We don't really take on fire damages and any of that. We just don't have to. At this point, we still have so many options in Arizona and so many deals that we're taking down that these are really the only kind of requirements. We're talking about an average of $30,000 per rehab, right? All right, and then average days on market for us, again, is very short. You're talking about 6 days before we typically get an accepted offer. It can be up to 2 weeks. Our hold time from start to finish is less than 4 months. And again, that's just an average. I mean, over and over and over of 11,000 deals, what we get on average. So that's why we do Phoenix and also quick rentals, right? We've got a very, very strong rental market in Arizona as well. All right, so talked about days on market. Whoop. So these are checks. Here's one from 5-4. I just wanted to show one of the checks. You can actually go onto my Instagram account. Here, I'll show you this. Just find my name on Instagram and you can go through it and you can see the rest of the checks. There's a ton of them. I've just started posting them over the last, I think it's like last month or something. The point is that I wanted everybody to see. Again, it wasn't for a, hey, look at me. It was more of a, this is what we're doing. It works. This is what we're doing. Proof of concept. So you can check out all those checks. It's real easy. And again, here's your date, amount, just showing you that we bought price, or we're buying properties over and over and over. So we talked about lacking the cash. We talked about the joint ventures. Some of the things that you will gain from that. Whoop. Let's go back. One. Whoop, there we go. So with the joint ventures, when you're joint venturing with us, you're able to basically leverage off of our systems. We have one project manager right now that has 65 jobs going on, from somewhere in acquisition to somewhere in, sales, right? And everything in between, just purchased to getting ready to sell. There's no way you get to 65 projects without understanding and having an insanely good system. Because at that point, it's really about problem solving. It has nothing to do with what's going on. It has everything to do with, have you been here before? And can you solve that very quickly, right? Well, this guy didn't show up. Okay, get John. This guy didn't show up. Okay, get this person. This thing is failing. Okay, we need to do it this way. The only way you get there is through experience. There's no way that you don't just magically know this information. And again, if you don't want to spend the years to get experience, then leverage off of somebody else. Why would you not want to leverage off of somebody else? If you can continue to do what you do, let them do what they do, right? Strongbrook has this saying, don't do anything you can pay somebody else to do. It's a great motto if you have the ability to do that, to focus on what you do well. We have a lot of doctors and dentists and lawyers that do business with us because they've gone to school for a long time and enjoy what they do. For me, it's all about family. I wanted to spend most of my time with my family. So find out what you want and what is your motivator. Where do you want to be? This might be an opportunity for you. And maybe it's not. Maybe you live in Arizona and you're like, look, I just want to buy from you guys. And maybe you don't even want to do that. You just go and buy at the auction. That's great too. Whatever you want to do. This webinar is focused on how to work with our systems and what we're doing. So I talked about the lacking the cash. This is the way that we work. Our lenders require 20 to 30% down. It's typically 20 on flips. If you go into the holds, now you're talking about 30. The interest on flips or the hard money is 17.99. However, because I had a few people not understand this clearly, there are no points. So it's not 12% and 3 points. It's no points. There's an $800 origination fee, and that's it. Whether you're loaning $100,000, $200,000, $300,000, it's just $800. And all it is 17.9% while you have the loan. So you're talking about 2 months, 3 months is the only amount of time that you have this loan out. With that loan in effect, we are talking about are the numbers that I'm giving you, the 12 and the 15. All of the ROI numbers I'm giving you all include utilizing our leverage, because those numbers go down significantly when you don't leverage. If you're going to spend the whole entire $100,000 on the property, obviously if you make 15 grand, that's going to be less of an ROI than if you only spent 66,000 of your own money to get that same $15,000. Even if the 15 was only 14 now, it still makes sense. So that's why we do that. It's all about leverage to us. Again, it's about getting and buying more properties. So getting started, how do we do this? What do we do and how does it work to work with us? When you talk about the way it is to work with us, when we typically work with a brand new investor, we're going to put $10,000 into an escrow account. So that way, when we say go, or when you say go, we have the money right there to say yes with, right? Once we do one deal with you, we don't require that anymore. We'll go ahead and front the $10,000 because it's not about that yet at this point, right? But when we don't have any kind of relationship, that's the way that we start it. So $10,000 goes into an escrow account. When we find a property that meets the requirements that you have, that we have, everything in it, and it works, what we do at that point is we pull the trigger. You then have 24 hours to either come up with the remaining balance in full or to come up with the remaining 20%. There is no credit check. It has nothing to do with that. It is all asset-based lending, all right? If you come up with the 20%, we're then going to take whatever the dollar amount we gave you for the rehab. So if we told you it was going to be $27,800 for the rehab, that goes into an escrow account as well, and it will get a draw schedule attached to it. One of the other things that's pretty unique about us is we don't ever come back and hit you up for more money. We're not about nickel and diming you. We've got huge systems going on. We're going to plug the property into that system, and it's going to go through. We're going to tell you what it's going to take, and then you're going to get what it gets when it comes out. And it works like that over and over again. So as soon as we get that remaining balance from you the next day, we take possession of the property and we start our rehab. At that point, we start, basically doing everything, pulling everything out. We start fixing everything, getting it to that point where it can be sold. We do market it to some degree. As soon as it is ready to go, we blast it out. Like I said, it takes anywhere from 6 days to 2 weeks for us to get a committed offer on them. Once that happens, now we have 30 to 45 days for close, depending on whatever the requirements are for that new buyer. Once we close it, then we take all of the profit, or we take whatever money's left. We pull out the money you put in. We pull out the money we put in. We pull out the money for holding. We pull out the money for hard money. We pull everything out. All the expenses come out. Then we split the profit. So that's kind of the whole way that it works, right? Our whole goal, again, is creating that value for you. Now, here's something else that we've done. If let's say you do 2 or 3 deals with us and you're seeing the results, you're probably going to have friends that want to be involved. We wanted to create something that would allow you to benefit from that, but not off of your friend or your referral. And so what we did was this. I just explained to you how that whole process works, right? At the end, we do that 50-50 split. If you referred somebody to us, what we end up doing is your referral gets 50% as the lender, you get 5% as a marketing fee, and then we get the 45%. And that is indefinitely, forever. I'm not looking to get that ever back. To me, I want to help you build a book of business. It's about creating that real solution for every single investor, right? So that's one of the other ways that we help out. Now, when you talk about, well, what do you do as far as research goes? How do you really look for the properties? We check out the location, the market, the conditions, the neighborhood, the age. The reality is we've been doing this in Arizona for over 8 years, and nobody buys more than we do. So we understand every aspect of what needs to be done, from title research, right? Property taxes. When we talk about the taxes, we actually have 2 or 3 companies that verify all these steps, because one company may miss it. And if they may miss it, right, now we're in trouble. We've had it where 2 companies said it was clean and 1 company said it wasn't. And we had to go back, and the one that said it wasn't. The 2 other ones missed it. So we ensure that we're always double and triple checking everything that we do so that we can make sure we get the right results for the investor every single time. It's about consistency. Everything we do is about consistency. All right. All right. Let's see if anybody else is the 20% included in the rehab cost. So no, the 20% is the purchase price. All right. If you're talking about the 30% and you're talking about the cash flow properties, then yes. When you're talking about First Key, you have to come up with 30% of the ARV, and they will do the rest, including rehab in there. And that is for a whole property, 30-year note. You have to have a 620 score. That isn't just asset-based. When you're talking about the flips that we're doing, it's only asset-based. Credit has nothing to do with it. It's 20% of the acquisition price, and then you also come up with the rehab money. All right? So I hope that made sense. The split, Brian, is 50-50. I think that I also answered that as well. Man, Amelia, I have no idea what you're saying, because it says like, I don't know, square root Z, J, K, L, M. So I will keep moving on. All right. And I will have a question point at the end. I just really want to hum through this stuff as fast as possible. We're already at 35 minutes and I'm still not done. Okay, so deeds. We check the deeds, title searches, who can do it, how much it costs. We do all of that. So all of that, all of those questions, who does it? In fact, when we were talking about, I said, look, I'm going to be telling you about a training that we're doing. On our trainings that we do in Phoenix, the first day, we bring our entire teams out to introduce them to you. Again, our goal is to get you to invest with us, right? So I'm going to introduce you to my people, because if I show you people that aren't doing it, that doesn't help you at all make or correct an assessment of the opportunity. A lot of the big gurus, what they do, they don't show you, they don't introduce you to their lawyers. They've got 400 people coming every 6 weeks. Believe me, you're not meeting who they're using, because there's no way they'd be slammed and overwhelmed. We're not. We're bringing, I don't know, 5 to 10, maximum 20 people to these events every 2 to 3 months. And that's it. This is a boutique type of thing. We're looking for specific investors that are looking to create cash flow and cash now, period. And if that's not you, that's okay. Like, I'm okay with that. I just want to specifically help those types. I've tried to run the gamut and help everybody, and it just doesn't work. I end up just doing a whole bunch of work and nothing happens. So how can you bid? Let's talk about that. Well, once you get in line with us and you're partnered with us, you can bid. You can do it at the courthouse steps. But if you don't live there, right, and you're going to leverage with us, well, then that's where this starts, right? You can do it via email. So every day prior to the auction happening, we send out a spreadsheet, and you can look through that spreadsheet and go, you know what? I like that property. Can you send me the information on that property? We can send you all of that. But really what we do is we typically find out, what are you looking to do? And then we show you the opportunities that we can take down, what we can get them for. You approve that, and boom, we go. We do that through email, or you can also do that through text, all right? And that's done with either, man, where was that at? Okay. Well, that's done with either Jacob or Spencer. And once you come on board with us, we figure out which one better suits what your needs are. Spencer works in Pinal County in Maricopa, and then Jacob works in Pinal County and Pima. So depending on if you're looking for cash flow, if you're looking for flips, and who's got a bigger workload, we'll go with that, right? But it's always focused on getting those results that you're looking for. Once you win the bid, like I've already said, all of this, you have 24 hours to pay the property in full. Once we have the keys, the project is underway and our clock has started, all right? So why use a service? Well, it's real easy. Again, you're leveraging off of our resources, representation, convenience. We provide the list. We do all of the follow-up. We follow all the major trustees. Not only that, but they tell us. They come and hunt us down to ensure that we're going to be there, because again, we've got all the buyers. I mean, if you really look at it from a big standpoint, why are we the number one purchaser? Because we have more investors than anybody else. We've got more people looking for deals that buy through us. That's why we're number one. So again, if you're looking to leverage with somebody, that's why I think that we're the best. Getting started, knowledge without action is just information, right? So what we've put together, and what I've got a bunch of these now, I'm going to just go through them. What we've put together is, our whole system. And it's a 3-day program that's all refundable. So I don't want the money from the workshop. I have no desire to have $2,000. It will not do anything for me or change my life in any way. However, doing 3 deals a year with you and making 45 grand, well, now that's a much bigger pool to play in, right? But here's what I do know. If you don't come out and meet us, if you don't get engaged, I don't see a lot of action either. So what we've done is we've created this program. It's 1997, and I'll show you that at the end. But I mean, that's what it is right now. It's 1997 to get involved, and that's for you and a partner. And like I told you at the very beginning of this, there was going to be, I told you the whole way that this works and the way that I've seen it successful. What we do in this 3 days is much different, though, than anybody else. And so I'll go through that real quickly. In the very beginning, we're going to have from 10 to 12, we're going to do live auction bidding. We're going to see that actually happen. This whole entire workshop takes place in our offices. I want you to be in our offices. I want you to meet our staff. I want you to meet all the people that work there so that you understand the team that you're partnering with, right? Who am I getting when I'm partnering with these guys? Also understand, I had somebody ask me, well, how am I guaranteed, safety? It's your property. Like literally when you buy it, you're the one that's on the HUD 1. It's not us, it's you. So you're protected all the way around, right? Then we have lunch. From lunch, you're going to meet our resources, and that's kind of what I was talking about. They're literally our resources. They're the people we're using on a daily basis. We're going to bring in some of our investors that invest with us currently so they can tell you what they're doing. They can tell you the experiences that they're getting over and over. They're going to come out to dinner with us, all right? The next day, and there we go. The next day on Saturday, we're going to be going out to the property. So we're going to look at some of the properties that we just purchased on Friday, right? We just bought them on Friday. We're going to check them out on Saturday. We're going to look at some of the properties that we've already rehabbed. We're going to look at some of the properties that are already done and are being sold right now. So you can see every different level every different stage of rehab and what it's in, all right? When we come back from that, we'll talk about kind of all of that, put that all together, what that looks like moving forward. Then we'll have dinner again. The next day, we're going to go look at properties that are going to auction. So what properties that are available for us to take action on the next day, all right? We're going to drive around and look at those properties. Then we'll come back, we'll have lunch, and then we're going to talk all about what steps you can do moving forward. I'm going to tell you exactly what those steps are right now too. So there's no surprises when you come to the event, because again, this event isn't about upselling anything. So the first thing that will happen when you come all the way at the end will be this. It'll be, okay, if I want to move forward, what's step one? Step one would be putting the $10,000 into an escrow account. Done. That's step one. And that's what I want 100% of our attendees to do. That's 100% I want to come in and invest with us. That is the end goal. There is no more thing than just that. But I'm asked about a few other things. So we added 2 more options that you can do if you choose. One will be a mastermind that we're going to be putting together that will basically meet 5 times a year. And there'll be probably a charge on that of somewhere around 10 grand. You don't have to get involved in it. You don't have to be part of the mastermind group. Again, this is only an option if you choose to do it. You don't have to be successful at real estate and get into the mastermind. It is only there for people that want it. There is no hard sales. In fact, this is probably the most I'll ever do, even at the event, because again, the end goal is to do real estate. That's the end goal. The other option that I'm somewhat looking at is that I've been asked a few times if we can help somebody start this in their market. And if we did that, it'd be more like a franchise, and there'd be a lot of interviewing going on, because I'm going to make sure that we want to work with you for a long period of time like that, because that's going to be really in depth. We're going to end up coming out to your market for a couple months in order to create this and make it happen. And you'd have to have experience at doing whatever it is that you're talking about and doing. So I don't even know if there will even be any of that opportunity at this event, because I don't know if anybody's in that situation. And again, I'm not looking for those. So I'm just trying to be, again, as transparent as possible and tell you everything that's going to happen. Then the last thing that we're going to do is on Monday morning, we're going to do, because it's Memorial Day weekend next weekend. On Monday morning, we're going to have a mastermind from 9 to 12, and then lunch, and then we're out, right? We already have, I think it's 8 people signed up for this. And here's the other thing that was cool. I was talking today to 2 people that are signing up, and everybody that's coming has this level of, I don't want to say status, I don't want to say that, but most of the people everybody that's coming has over $100,000, right? And I just think that moves it to a different level. When you're talking about those people, us masterminding with those, everybody has access to something. It's not like anybody's there going, I have nothing, I need everything, right? And so that's why I want to do this mastermind on Monday morning is, okay, we've seen all of the things now. What do we want to do moving forward? How do you guys want to operate? How do you want to work together? What can we create together? The mastermind, I want to put that together. I'm looking for probably 20 people, 25 people in that group for us to go and take down big commercial properties. You may not be interested in commercial properties, so you're like, look, I don't want to be any part of that. And again, I'm okay with that. Like, my main goal and the main reason for this event is all about doing real estate. It's about creating that opportunity. All right. So normally we have 5,000. I know we created it. It was 25, but don't even worry about any of that. It's only 2,000 or 1997. All you got to do is go to Turnkey Real Estate Blueprint if you want to come out next weekend. And again, this was all about showing you how we do what we do, how you can engage with what we're doing. You don't have to do the workshop to invest with us. You don't. I just haven't met a lot of people willing to give 100 grand over to somebody that they have never met, somebody that they've never had dinner with, never talked to, right? I want to build long-term relationships. I want to build long-term investors with us. So I want you to come out to meet us. And my goal is to give you the money back. I don't want the 2 grand. I have no desire for it. What I want is you to invest with us over and over and over again. I want to create opportunities over and over and over again. So that's what I had. And I'll just leave this up, the Turnkey Real Estate Blueprint. And now I will go ahead and answer any questions that you guys have so that we can wrap this up and you guys can get back to your day. I really do appreciate everybody who has stayed on here and been here. All right. Are we able to see what is being done? Yes. So basically what I consider, what I created is the car wash of real estate, right? Where you can put your money in the front like a car and it goes through, but you can't touch it and get in the way. You can't screw it up. Not directing this towards any one of you, but why would you want to give us advice on how to fix or rehab a property when we've done it 11,000 times and I'm pretty sure none of you guys have? When we've sold over $2.8 billion in real estate, we know what it's going to take to sell it. We know we've done it. We've sold $2.8 billion in sales. So I wanted it to be interactive and not interactive, right? Where you can be somewhat engaged, but at the same time, it's from a distance. Now, does that mean that it always has to be that way? No. The more deals we do together, maybe you want to come out and get more involved and learn more hands-on. I'm okay with that. I'm not going to charge you more for that. I mean, it's whatever. Come out and hang out for a week and walk through your property and watch it. But what I don't want is investors feeling like, well, no, I want to have a blue door or a green door. I've always wanted to put this lamp in there. Look, let us do our job. Let us do our job and do it over and over and over again and make you money. And then you can take your money and go do whatever you want with it, right? Don't worry about the complicated stuff, at least not in Arizona with this philosophy, with this structure that we have put together. I hope I answered that for you, William. Let's see. Okay. Oh, thank you, David. I'm sorry. Oh, I see. Your phone didn't work. Okay. If you guys don't have any more questions, though, that's kind of it. I mean, this really was, I've been doing calls. I think I've done like 25 calls over the last week, and I always have to answer a lot of these questions. So I wanted to create a webinar that I literally answered all these questions for you, and I went through it so you guys could have a much better idea of not only who the Gentry Group is, what we are, how we operate, what we offer, and really kind of what we're all about. So again, Google us, right? Google our names. Find out more. Check out my Instagram. Check me out on Facebook. Look what I've been doing for the last 3-4 years. Don't look back 2 days. Look back years. See if my message has changed in any way. That's the beautiful part, is that I know it hasn't. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for being on. I'm going to check. No more questions. So thank you so much. Have a great day. And make sure tonight you go make something happen. Sign up. We only have a few spots left, all right? It's very limited, boutique size. Have a great night, guys. Bye.
This is how we roll.